She had just 15 minutes to change her life, a new job, a new future, everything she had dreamed for her son, but then a single cry for help stopped her cold in that moment. Emma Walker had to choose her chance at success or a stranger's. Life. Emma Walker checked her watch again, 10:47 a.m., 13 minutes just. 13 minutes until the interview that could change everything. Her heart was racing, not from fear, from hope. This was it. The senior marketing position at Sterling Corporation. The job that paid 3 times what she made now, the job that meant her son, Tommy, could finally have a real birthday party, new shoes that weren't from a thrift store. Maybe even that science camp he talked about every single night. Emma looked down at her blazer. She had borrowed it from her neighbor. Her only good pair of heels made her feet hurt. But she didn't care. Today was the day she walked faster through downtown. The morning sun was bright. People were everywhere. Coffee shops, street vendors, the sound of the city was alive. But Emma only heard one thing, the ticking clock in her mind. 12 minutes now. She turned the corner onto Hamilton Street. The Sterling building was just 2 blocks away. She could see it. Tall glass shining in the sunlight like a promise. You can do this, she whispered to herself. For Tommy, you can do this. Emma was 32 years old. But sometimes she felt like she was 100. Life hadn't been easy, not since Tommy's father left when Tommy was just 2 years old. One day he was there, the next day gone. No note, no goodbye, just nothing. She raised Tommy alone, and every single day was a battle, paying rent, buying food, making sure Tommy never felt like he was missing anything. Even though they were missing everything, Emma worked 2 jobs, a receptionist during the day, a waitress 3 nights a week. She slept maybe 5 hours a night, sometimes less, but Tommy never knew how hard it was. She made sure of that when he smiled. Everything was worth it when he hugged her and said, "I love you, Mommy." All the pain disappeared. This interview was their way out. Emma had applied 6 months ago. She never thought they'd call, but they did 2 weeks ago. A woman named Patricia Chun called her, the head of HRW. "We're impressed with your experience, Emma. We'd like to meet you." Emma had cried that night, happy tears. Finally. Something good. 11 minutes. She was almost running now. Her bag bounced against her hip. Inside was her resume, printed on expensive paper. She had spent $12 on that paper. $12 she didn't have, but it had to be perfect. Everything had to be perfect. The sidewalk was crowded. Emma moved between people like water. "Excuse me, sorry, pardon me." 10 minutes. She could see the revolving doors of the Sterling building now, so close, just one more block. Her phone buzzed. She pulled it out. A text from Mrs. Rodriguez, the neighbor who watched Tommy in the mornings. "He's perfect, don't worry, go get that job." Mijama smiled. Tommy was safe, that was all that mattered. She put the phone back in her pocket, and then the world exploded. First came the sound, a deep, terrible roar like the earth itself was screaming. Then the shaking, the ground moved under Emma's feet. She stumbled, her purse fell, papers scattered everywhere. People were screaming, car alarms blared, glass shattered from somewhere above. "Earthquake," someone yelled. Emma had never felt an earthquake before. She froze. Her body didn't know what to do. The shaking lasted maybe 20 seconds, maybe 30. It felt like forever, and then it stopped. Silence for just one moment. The entire city was silent. Then the screaming started again. Emma looked around. People were running somewhere on the ground. A traffic light had fallen. A storefront window was completely gone. She looked at her watch. The glass was cracked, but she could still read it. 10:52 a.m., 8 minutes. She could still make it if she ran. If she didn't look back, the interview was still possible. But then she heard Ida, voice weak, desperate, "Help, someone, please." Emma turned across the street. Part of a building had collapsed, not the whole thing, just the front entrance. Bricks and concrete and metal had fallen into a terrible pile underneath it. She saw him, a man trapped. His arm was sticking out, moving, reaching. "Help, I can't move." Emma looked at the Sterling building, still there, still standing just 1 block away. 7 minutes. She looked at the men. Other people were running past him, too scared, too focused on themselves. No one was stopping. Emma's hands were shaking. This was her moment. Her one chance. Tommy's future was 1 block away. 7 minutes. The man coughed. She heard him even from across the street, a wet, painful sound. "Please." Emma closed her eyes. She thought of Tommy, his smile, his laugh, the way he asked her every week, "Mommy, when will we have enough money?" She thought of the bills piled on her kitchen table, the eviction notice she got last month, The way she cried in the shower so Tommy wouldn't hear this job could fix everything, but when she opened her eyes, she was already running, not toward the Sterling building, toward the man under the rublim. Coming. Emma shouted, hold on. I'm coming. She dropped her purse, kicked off her heels. The concrete was rough under her feet. But she didn't care. She reached the pile of debris and fell to her knees up close. It was worse than she thought. A metal beam had fallen across the man's chest. Bricks were everywhere. His face was covered in dust and blood, but his eyes were open and they were looking right at her. Thank you, he whispered. Thank God. Emma looked at her. Watch, 10:54 a.m. 6 minutes. She could still go, flag down help, and go someone else would come, but she looked at the man again. No one else was coming. What's your name? She asked Daniel. He said his voice was so weak. Daniel Foster. Okay. Daniel, I'm Emma. I'm going to get you out. She had no idea how Emma looked at the metal beam. It was huge, heavy. She couldn't lift it alone. Can you feel your legs? She asked. Daniel tried to move. He winced. Yes, but my left leg, something's wrong, Emma saw. His left leg was twisted at an angle that made her stomach turn, and there was blood, a lot of blood. It was pooling around his thigh. She remembered something from a first aid class she took years ago when Tommy was a baby. She took it because she was terrified something would happen to him. Tourniquet stopped the bleeding. First, Emma pulled off her blazer. The borrowed blazer. She wrapped it around Daniel's thigh. Just above where the blood was coming from, she pulled it tight. Daniel screamed at him. Sorry, Emma said. Tears were in her eyes now. I'm so sorry. But I have to stop the bleeding. She tied it as tight as she could. The bleeding slowed. 10:56 in 4 minutes. Emma. Daniel's voice was fading. You should go. No. You look dressed up somewhere important? Emma laughed. It came out like a sob. Yeah, job interview, biggest interview of my life. Daniel's eyes widened. Then go. Please go. You'll be dead if I leave. Emma said. She wasn't crying anymore. Her voice was strong. And I'm not letting that happen. She looked around. A crowd had formed, people watching. But no one helping. Someone call 911, Emma shouted. Now? A woman pulled out her phone. Emma turned back to Daniel. She needed to move that beam even just a little, just enough to pull him free. She stood up, grabbed the beam with both hands. On 3. Daniel, I need you to try to pull yourself back, okay? He nodded. Barely. 1. Emma planted her feet. 2. She thought of Tommy waiting at home, waiting for good news. 3. She pulled with everything she had. Her muscles screamed. Her hands burned. The beam was so heavy it felt like the earth itself, but it moved just an inch. Daniel cried out and pulled himself backward. His shoulders came free. His chest came free, but his leg was still trapped. Emma couldn't hold it anymore. The beam dropped back down, but Daniel was more free now, enough to breathe. Better. 10:58 m. 2 minutes. Emma sat down hard on the concrete. Her hands were bleeding. Her stockings were torn. Her feet were cut from running without shoes. The interview was gone. She knew it. 2 minutes. She'd never make it. Never. All of this, all the preparation, all the hope gone. And for a moment, Emma felt something break inside her. But then Daniel reached out his hand, found hers. Thank you, he said. You saved my life. Emma looked at him. Really looked at him. He was maybe 40, dark hair, kind eyes, even covered in blood and dust. There was something gentle about him. I didn't save you yet, Emma said. She squeezed his hand. But I will. Sirens. Finally, Emma heard them in the distance. Getting closer. They are coming, she said. Hold on. Daniel, they're almost here. Daniel smiled. It was a small, painful smile. What's your name again? Emma Walker. He said it like he was memorizing it. I won't forget. The fire truck arrived first. Then the ambulance. Paramedics ran over with equipment. A firefighter gently moved Emma aside. Ma'am, we've got this. You did great. You can step back now. Emma stood up. Her legs were shaking so bad she almost fell. She watched them work, cutting the beam, carefully lifting Daniel onto a stretcher. They moved fast. Professional. Daniel turned his head, found Emma in the crowd. Thank you, he called out. Emma Walker. Thank you. And then they took him away. The ambulance doors closed. The sirens started again. And he was gone. Emma stood there, alone in her torn stockings, her bloody hands, no shoes, no blazer. She looked at her watch. 11:03 a.m. The interview started 3 minutes ago. It was over. Emma walked home. It took an hour. Her feet hurt so bad she could barely stand it. People stared at her. She didn't care. She kept thinking about the same thing over and over. What did I just do? When she got home, Mrs. Rodriguez opened the door. Her face went white. Emma, Dios mío, what happened? Earthquake. Emma said, I'm okay. The interview, I didn't make it. Mrs. Rodriguez covered her mouth. No. Tommy ran out. He saw his mother and his smile disappeared. Mommy, Ah, you hurt? Emma knelt down, pulled him into her arms, and finally, she cried. She cried for the job, for the future, for the bills she couldn't pay. For every single thing that just fell apart, but Tommy just held her. It's okay. Mommy, he whispered, we'll be okay, and in that moment, Emma believed him. 3 days passed. Emma called Sterling Corporation. She explained what happened. They said they understood, but the position was filled. They were sorry. Maybe next time. There wouldn't be a next time. Emma went back to her 2 jobs. The receptionist, the waitress, the same grind, the same exhaustion. But something felt different when she looked in the mirror. She saw someone new, someone who chose a stranger's life over her own future. Someone who wasn't sure if that made her brave or stupid, maybe both. She didn't regret it even when the electricity bill came and she didn't have the money, even when Tommy needed new clothes and she had to say no even then. She didn't regret it because Daniel was alive. That had to mean something on the 4th day. Someone knocked on her door. Emma answered it. A man in a suit stood there, professional, polished. Emma Walker? Yes, my name is Richard Chun. I'm an attorney with Foster and Associates. He held out a business card. My client would like to see you. Emma stared at the card. Your client? Daniel Foster. Emma's heart stopped. Is he okay? Richard smiled. He's recovering, but he's been asking about you every day. He wanted me to bring you to him if you're willing. Emma didn't understand why. He wants to thank you properly, and Richard paused. He has a proposition for youth hospital room. Was quiet. Daniel was in bed. His leg was in a cast. His face was still bruised, but he was alive, awake, and smiling when Emma walked in. Emma Walker, he said. You came, of course. Emma stayed by the door. She felt nervous, out of place. How are you feeling? Like I got crushed by a building. Daniel laughed, then winced. Okay, laughing hurts. But I'm alive because of you. Emma shook her head. The paramedics saved you. They saved my body. You saved my life. Daniel gestured to a chair. Please sit. We need to talk. Emma sat. Daniel looked at her for a long moment. Richard told me about your interview. The job you missed. Emma looked down. It's fine. I'm fine. Yeah, or not fine. And it's not fine. Daniel leaned forward. Emma, I spent 3 days in this hospital thinking about my life, about what matters. About the fact that I almost died and a stranger gave up everything to save me. Didn't give up everything. You gave up your future for mine. Daniel's voice cracked. Do you know what that means? Do you know how rare that is? Emma didn't know what to say. Daniel reached over to the table beside his bed, picked up a folder, handed it to Emma. What's this? She asked. Open it. Emma opened the folder. Inside was a job offer. Letter from Foster and Associates, position. Director of Community Relations, salary, $95. 0 per year. Emma's hands started shaking. I don't understand. Foster and Associates is my company, Daniel said quietly. I founded it 15 years ago. We're a nonprofit consulting firm. We help other nonprofits grow and thrive. It's good work, important work. Emma couldn't breathe. We've been looking for someone to run our community outreach. Someone with heart, someone who understands what sacrifice means, what humanity means. Daniel smiled. I found her. Under a pile of rubble, tears were streaming down Emma's face now. I don't have the experience. You have everything I need. Daniel said. Courage, compassion, the ability to make impossible choices. That's what I need. That's what we need. Emma looked at the offer letter again. $95. 0. That was more than she'd made in 2 years combined. Why? She whispered. Why would you do this? Daniel's eyes were wet too now. Because you gave me my life back. Let me give you yours. Emma started the job. 2 weeks later, she couldn't believe it was real. Every morning she woke up and thought it was a dream. But it wasn't. She had an office with a window and a door that closed. Her own computer business cards with her name on them. Emma Walker, Director of Community Relations. Tommy loved the new apartment. It had 2 bedrooms, one just for him and a park right outside where he could play. Mommy, he said one night at dinner, are we rich now? Emma laughed. No, baby, we're not rich, but we're okay. We're finally okay. Tommy smiled. I like okay. Me too. Emma worked with Daniel almost every day. He was kind, brilliant, funny as he recovered. She learned his story too. Built Foster and Associates from nothing. He'd lost his wife to cancer 3 years ago. He'd been working himself to death ever since. Trying to fill the emptiness with purpose. The earthquake was a wake-up call, a reminder that life was fragile, that people mattered more than anything. They became friends, real friends, and slowly, Emma realized something. She was happy for the first time in years. She was actually happy. 6 months later, Foster and Associates hosted a gala, a fundraiser for local community programs. Emma organized the whole thing. It was her first major project. She was terrified, but it came together beautifully. The ballroom was full, 200 people, donors, volunteers, community leaders, and at the center of it all was Emma in a dress she bought herself with her own money, a beautiful blue dress that made her feel like someone new. Daniel stepped up to the microphone. "Thank you all for coming," he said. "Tonight we celebrate the incredible work happening in our community, but before we begin, I want to tell you a story." Emma's heart raced. She knew what story he was going to tell. 6 months ago, I almost died. I was trapped under rubble, bleeding out alone, and then an angel appeared. Daniel looked at Emma. Her name was Emma Walker. She had somewhere important to be, a job interview that would change her life. But she stopped. She gave up her future to save mine. The room was silent. Emma didn't know me. She had nothing to gain, everything to lose, but she stayed anyway. She pulled me free. She stopped the bleeding. She held my hand while I was terrified. Daniel's voice broke. "She saved my life, and then she changed it completely." He gestured to Emma. "Emma Walker, ladies and gentlemen, the heart of Foster and Associates, and the reason I'm standing here today." The room erupted in applause. Emma was crying, smiling, overwhelmed. Daniel walked over, hugged her. "Thank you," he whispered, "for everything." "Thank you," Emma whispered back, "for giving me a chance that night." After everyone left, Emma and Daniel stood on the balcony of the hotel. The city lights stretched out before them like stars. "I've been thinking," Daniel said, "about that day, the earthquake, the choice you made." He turned to her. "You didn't know it then, but you didn't just save my life, you saved yours too." Emma thought about that. She thought about the woman she was 6 months ago, desperate, exhausted, barely surviving. She thought about who she was now, strong, valued, whole. "Maybe we saved each other," she said. Daniel smiled. "Yeah, maybe we did." They stood there in the quiet, two people who found each other in the rubble, who built something beautiful from broken pieces. And Emma realized something important. The best things in life don't come from interviews or perfect plans. They come from impossible moments, from choosing love over fear, from reaching out even when it costs you everything. She looked up at the stars and she knew, finally, that everything was exactly where it was supposed to be. Sometimes the greatest success comes from the moment you choose to fail at everything else. Sometimes the life you save is your own.